Here we see day trippers arriving by coach at Bridlington on the 11th of April 2024. It would be a familiar scene to some extent, even 100 years ago. I know that my grandfather arrived here from just south of Leeds by Charabanc in round about 1922. Just imagine 100 years. They were open things, so it was like being on top of a lorry, sort of open to the atmosphere. Walking along here must have been very different at that time, but some of the buildings, of course, are quite familiar. I remember this from the 1950s initially. Much of this is the same, and some has changed. Of course, the buses are totally different. I can't remember too much about what was actually in the centre here, except I do remember on a motorcycle in the 1960s parking on the left there, where the toilet block is now. Now it's on the right there. Parking there on a motorcycle, and I think I can remember even before that when it used to be some sort of taxi rank or something. Walking along here, all of the shops have changed, but the roads are the same. And the slipway down onto the harbour there, the cobbled street, again much the same, without the dinosaur, of course. Down on the harbour here, I remember a fleet of yellow rowing boats in the 1950s, and on the south shore side of Bridlington, I remember going for a ride on those little, do you remember, if you were there in the 1950s and perhaps 60s, there were little motorised chugging along boats where the lifeboat station is right now, and further on there was a sort of a paddling pool where you could actually sail little model boats. Along here, on the right there would be a fleet of yellow rowing boats in the 1950s. I seem to remember, I'm not too sure about this, another smaller fleet of rowing boats which were white coloured with perhaps blue and red stripe or something. Perhaps you can let me know in the comments. A couple of seagulls there with something that possibly wasn't a chip, or they would have eaten it straight away but looked like one. And here we are looking out at Flamborough Head with the pirate boat about to enter the harbour. Now, the Yorkshire Bell is not here, and it is after Easter. I did inquire with one of the shopkeepers there, and they said the Yorkshire Bell was having some work done in Hull and will be back in May. But look at the pirate ship. You've got to give credit to this pirate ship. It seems to operate all year round. It was certainly operating in February, when it was about 5 centigrade. I think for me, the pleasure boat of the harbour that I would give my best pleasure cruise award to would be the pirate ship, simply because it's so accessible. You come to Bridlington, it seems to be always there and operating. Here we'll have a walk through the town, and you'll notice that I've got the sound turned off, the audio, and I'm doing a voiceover now from where I live at home. This is because of the extreme wind which always seems to be present on the east coast. Here we're walking round, I'm not sure what this is called, but it's a very old posh part of Bridlington. It resembles in some ways some of the streets in Bath. But on the right there is some dereliction present. I remember all of this from childhood. What a shame it's like that. I think it's up for auction, that building. Walking now towards the one of the main streets on the town. Here we are. This is one of the typical Yorkshire East riding buses coming along. And perhaps buses or coach anyway is a good way to actually come to Bridlington from Leeds. Certainly saves the effort of driving. Just across the road there is the shopping centre. Not very much there. But here is Bridlington seeming to thrive 3 years after the awful pandemic, when so many small towns and cities across the UK were devastated and basically ruined. If the financial crash of 2007 wasn't enough, then that was followed up by these lockdowns, whatever you may think of that, whether they were necessary or not. Leeds itself seems to survive quite well after the lockdown. It came back almost as though nothing had happened. There must be a lot of money in the properties in Leeds for that to happen. There's some good charity shops along here where you can buy books and help support a charity such as the British Heart Foundation. Walking along this street here, there's 3 shop over on the left there. There we are, 3 network. We had a lot of trouble getting a signal when we were with 3 where I live, but I understand it's now pairing with. Can't remember who it's actually pairing with. Was it Vodafone? Can't remember. Trying to anyway. Over on the right there, we've got Costa, a very small Costa on the left that's got some comfortable sofas on the top floor. Unusual perhaps these days for Costa. And here we are walking towards the small covered shopping centre in Bridlington. There's a shop on the corner there where you can buy pasties and so on. But what do I remember further about Bridlington? I remember coming from West Yorkshire, and it was in my aunt's old post-war car, which was probably an Austin A40 Cambridge. Very slow car with a column gear change. Now I learned to drive when I was 10 years old in that car. On Carnaby, what is now Carnaby Industrial Estate, I think it used to be an old aerodrome that used to be for World War II, possibly Lancaster bombers, and later on there were sort of Bloodhound missiles in the 1950s, 60s, all the way down the coast. I just thought I would record this for you. You can see 1,244 less incidents of antisocial behaviour. It does make you wonder what the total number was actually. Found this a bit shocking, to be honest, but it covers the whole of the East Riding of Yorkshire, so that would also cover a big city. Would cover Hull, for example. And here we are, buses exiting the town there, and shortly we'll see the South Shore. Here it is. This is where I spent much of my childhood. I think it was Granger's Holiday Camp, possibly Southshore Holiday Village. On the extreme right there is the end of the pier. In the centre of the picture, where all those dunes are, it used to be low earth cliffs being eroded by the tide, and now it's totally different. It looks like the Planet of the Apes, the ending, it's changed so much, where the Statue of Liberty pokes out from the sand. That's how different it is. Well, that's about the end of this video, and it might be a while before I come back to Bridlington again, so I hope you enjoy this video and indeed the series of videos that I've made about this place. If you want to come here, this is the South Beach, and this is the place to come. It's absolutely beautiful. So I would suggest staying over there as well, out of the city. Take care now. Goodbye.